Well, it's good morning and welcome, folks. It's QR5 here live from the banks of the Yarra River this morning. The most beautiful day today here in Melbourne. So um, we had a bit of excitement yesterday with a few people on the street in Melbourne expressing their views about things. Yeah, so big shout out to law enforcement. But law enforcement, we're going to talk about different kind of law enforcement today. So tomorrow is Friday the 13th of September, and it's the National Missing Persons Hack-a-thon, OSINT, Open Source Intelligence. We are looking for missing persons and hacking for good. Hashtag hacking for good. So a lot of work has gone into this amazing event that's going to be on tomorrow. It's going to not only in Melbourne, it's going to be on around the country. So Queensland, New South Wales, ACT, all the other states, right across the Adelaide and Perth and yeah, I think the people in Perth, they got a very early start in the morning because they're 2 hours out of sync. So they're going to have their best Quokkas smile on for the big event tomorrow. So I know people are getting up very early over there to get on and get set up and registered for the day. Um, so it's really getting attacked by magpie here. That's very helpful. Um, the it's going to be a really exciting day tomorrow. So thanks for all the great leaders around the country who've really put in a lot of work to pull this event together. So open source intelligence, as you know, is part of the ethical hacking process. It's also part of the malicious hacking process at times as well. So when we go through the penetration test execution standard, we'll talk about having planning and making sure we're set up correctly. We have the appropriate permissions and the scope and the range and the test window, all that kind of stuff. And then we go into open source intelligence and then reconnaissance and researching the information you need for the pen testing for a particular test. So here tomorrow, we're not pen testing anything. This is the open source intelligence is a specific discipline within cybersecurity, and it's often one where people who are new to cybersecurity get started because it doesn't require any reverse engineering or binary exploits. So you can start with something you're more familiar with and know, and then move up your skills and tradecraft as you go from there. So open source intelligence is a really important part of the cybersecurity stack, if you want to use that technical term, but it's part of the disciplines of what we do in cybersecurity. So tomorrow in Hacking for Good, looking for missing people, who've been either, new, missing from their so-called friends or their family. Obviously, there's anxiety around that. So it's great to come together as a community and to put in some effort to try and see if we can locate some of these missing people. So we're not doing this in isolation. We'll be doing it in concert with the authorities and the missing persons case managers and all the evidence collected is all safely locked up in a vault that will be handed over to the law enforcement and we walk away, have a little bit of a celebration and some networking and drinks afterwards, I'm sure. So it's going to be great. If you're in Melbourne, come say hi. I'd love to, have a selfie with our team. My team will be there in some bright red jumpers, and you'll probably stand out. So, yeah, very proud of the effort they put in to be represented in this way on the day and do some hacking for good. So. I do want to just flip up the sponsor. I thought it's going to be a lot of media tomorrow, so it probably won't be that active, obviously, inside the venue because there'll be traditional media and other people running a media agenda there, so I don't want to cut across that. So I'll just do my big shout out to the sponsors here for at least the Melbourne scene, which is down here. So big thanks to all these companies who are doing an absolutely fantastic job in putting this event together for us, and I appreciate your support. And for the big industry global player who's donated their office space for the day and a couple of days setup. It's been very generous of you. Um, and we really appreciate all that effort. So that's really fantastic. A lot going on. It's going to be a huge day. A little bit of a preview here from me today. So often in cybersecurity, we talk about things that we know in multi-factor authentication. We talk about things that we know, things that we are, things that we have. There was a vulnerability release during the week for YubiKey that is an interesting one because we don't often see hardware vulnerabilities come up in the announcements from vendors, and that for those of you who have YubiKeys and use them as something you have, it's a fairly low severity, low to moderate. You actually have to steal the key and be in possession of the key to actually, and have some very sophisticated equipment to clone the key and do the exploit that was covered in the release from the company. So if you've got a fairly, the company has given a list of, it's not every YubiKey, it's just some. So the company is working very hard and doing a great job in communicating with their clients about what's required there. So I thought it was an interesting one because we don't often see like a hardware firmware vulnerability because the YubiKey doesn't actually have any software in it. It's a device that you have. So, but just in multi-factor authentication, it's always good to remember that something you are, something you know, something you have is part of what the multi is in that the factors that you're authenticating with, and that's to identify who you are, then why you're there and why you're doing something. That's a separate issue. But yeah, so identification and identity access management is all part of that multi-factor suite. So anyway, just a big shout out again tomorrow to all the great sponsors. We just popped them up once again. Here, thank you very much for your efforts. If you're going to be around tomorrow in Melbourne, come say hi, come have a photograph with my team. They'd love that. And we'll see you on the other side.